After 8 months in prison, Wyan's health had grown weak. Her face was pale as she sat silently inside the cell. Jungkook stood outside the bars, staring at his wife. "Why did you kill Mom?" he asked coldly. Wyan slowly looked up. "Jungkook? Again? How many times do I have to tell you? I didn't kill her." The silence between them felt heavier than the iron bars. Jungkook stood there, jaw tight, eyes fixed on her like he was trying to pull the truth out just by staring. Wyan didn't even look up at first. Her fingers trembled slightly where they rested on her lap. 8 months. And still the same question. Now she slowly lifted her face, pale, thinner. Eyes that once held warmth now carried exhaustion. "I didn't kill her, Jungkook. How many times do I have to say it?" His expression didn't soften. If anything, it hardened more. "Everyone saw the evidence. You were there. You were the last person with her." "And that makes me a murderer?" she snapped, voice cracking halfway. "Is that all it takes for you to believe I did it?" He clenched his fists. "Then tell me what happened that night." "I did," she said, standing up despite the weakness in her legs. "I told you everything. She called me. I went there. We argued, yes, but I didn't kill her." "Then why were your fingerprints on the knife?" That hit. She froze. Tears welled up, but she blinked them back stubbornly. "Because I tried to pull it out. To save her." Jungkook let out a bitter breath, running a hand through his hair. "Do you even hear how that sounds?" Wyan stepped closer to the bars now, gripping them for support. "No. Do you hear yourself?" Her voice dropped, softer but sharper. "I'm your wife. 8 months, Jungkook. 8 months in here. And you still look at me like I'm a stranger." He didn't reply. That silence hurt more than any accusation. YN grip tightened on the cold metal. "My health is getting worse. I can barely sleep, barely eat. And the only person I thought would stand by me keeps asking me the same question like I'm lying." Jungkook felt guilty for her situation. His expression softened, but he masked it with cold expression. "If you're innocent, prove it." A broken smile appeared on her lips. "I thought you'd believe me first, then help me prove it." They both were silent until YN broke it. "Go," she whispered. He frowned. "YN, just go." Her voice cracked, tears finally slipping down. "If you came here as an investigator, not as my husband, then there's nothing left to say." He hesitated. For a second it looked like he might step closer, but he didn't. He turned and walked away. Wyan slowly sank to the floor, back against the cold wall, her breathing uneven. "Even you don't believe me." Outside, Jungkook stopped walking. Just for a moment, his fists clenched again, because deep down, a small stubborn part of him did believe her, and that scared him more than the possibility that she was guilty. In Jeon House, Jungkook's father stood beside his late wife, devastated and furious. The Jeon family and their close friends, the Won family, were gathered around. Mrs. Won shook her head. YN shouldn't have done this. Her daughter Susie stood beside her and quietly agreed. Yes, she shouldn't have. That's why Mrs. Jeon always tried to stop Jungkook from marrying her. And now look what happened. Jungkook's father clenched his jaw, his anger growing. "She got the punishment she deserved," he said coldly. Lawyer Kim Namjoon was finally allowed to meet YN. Her parents had hired him, desperately trying to save their daughter even though they are poor, had no power. YN sat across from him, looking exhausted after 8 months in prison. "It's hard, Mr. Kim," she whispered. "I didn't kill Mrs. John. They're trapping me." Namjoon leaned forward. "Who?" YN looked around nervously before lowering her voice. "They... all of them. They're behind it." "Who exactly?" Namjoon asked. "I don't know who killed her," YN admitted, tears filling her eyes. "I swear I don't. I was only trying to help her that night. Somehow they turned everything against me." Namjoon studied her carefully. "Then we'll find out what really happened," he said firmly. "But I need you to tell me everything, even the smallest detail." When told, "That day no one was at home. It was night I returned from outside. When I went to kitchen, I heard scream from Mrs. Jian room. When I went there, I found her attack. She was lying on ground, lifeless. She was asking me help. She said Namjoon hearing. Did you called ambulance? Or emergency? Namjoon asked. She said, my phone was not charged that time. I was not incensed. I was just trying to help her to pull out knife. And suddenly, I heard police siren and Mrs. Jian was dead. She said, when they found me, I was beside Mrs. Jian, so they arrested me. She explained, still unclear for Namjoon. YN, it's still unclear. How did Mrs. Jian got murdered? He said. I didn't kill her, she said finally. Namjoon nodded. He said he is handling her case. Now her parents hired him. She had to cooperate with him. I don't want lawyer tell mom dad not to spend money. I don't want to stressed or worried them. She said, still they want you released from this jail, he said. YN said she will get out only after her husband believe her otherwise. I will spend my life here like final decision. She want Jungkook, her husband, his help. Namjoon left. He said he will still help her as her parents hired him. I never liked that girl. I always warn Mrs. Jeon. Now look, she is not in this world now. Mrs. Won wiping her tears. Suzy kept her hand on her mother's lap. Aunt Jeon was so sweet, but YN she never treat auntie like mother. What can we expect from poor girl like her? Suzy said. Suzy, don't talk like that. Jungkook said. He was standing beside wall. His mom photo was hanging on wall. You always took her side and now I lost my wife. Mr. Jeon said. Still arguments happened. They were blaming on YN. Jungkook, just in his thoughts, he remembered face of YN. She is pale, disappointed. She hoped Jungkook will save her, but he wants truth. He love her still, but his mom, she mattered him too. You came. YN said. Jungkook nodded. You asked for meeting you. Told the officer you will told everything from that night. She sign. Tell the truth. YN? He said. Still same thing. I didn't kill your mom, Jungkook. She said. You're lying. He said. She frowned. I'm not lying. That night she was already attacked. She was injured. When I found her in room, she explained. Listen, same thing. Same story. You had your fingerprint. He cut off by her. I wanted to help her, Jungkook. I was pulling knife. You think I didn't try to call help. My phone was off, I told you. She explained. Jungkook got up when YN said, I heard voice. Jungkook turned to her. Which voice? She looked up. That murder night, someone was also present at that time when your mom left the world. Someone called the officers. They trapped me. She said. Jungkook asked, which voice? YN don't lie, explain everything. He said. Holding bars. She explained. A woman voice. Jungkook shocked. She said it's done. Jungkook confused. I heard same voice. I think it's Suzy voice. She said. Jungkook was in shocked. What? Suzy. He said shocked. Are you, in your sense, you're blaming Suzy? He looks at her. Jungkook, I had doubt on Suzy and her family. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm telling you truth. Suzy was first choice of your parents to marry you. They always hated me when you introduced me to your family. Your mom also never liked me, but still she accepted, and that made Suzy hate me. They refused to accept me as your wife because Suzy got rejected by you. YN tried to explain. He just listening. I can't believe this. Jungkook said, I know you don't. But remember how one's insulted me. Look down on me. You will see the truth, Jungkook. She said, keep eye on them. You will see the truth. I'm not lying. After weeks of research, he noticed something disturbing. The same people who had accused YN were also the ones constantly pressuring him to divorce her. His father had heard their arguments too, but Jungkook now wanted proof before accusing anyone. Jungkook's doubts about Suzy's family had grown stronger, so he decided to test Suzy. He met her and behaved unusually sweetly, making her believe he was finally moving on from YN. Suzy smiled, thinking her plan was working. I knew you would eventually understand, she said softly. I was your mother's choice, Jungkook, not YN. Jungkook's expression barely changed, but those words caught his attention. He moved closer, pretending to be more interested in her. Inside, however, he was watching every reaction, every word, every hesitation. He wasn't getting closer because he had forgotten YN. He was getting closer to Suzy to find the truth. 1 month passed and the pressure on Jungkook only grew stronger. Suzy had become much more open with him, constantly finding reasons to meet him and reminding him that she was still willing to marry him. Jungkook, how long will you keep living like this? Suzy asked softly. Divorce YN. You need to think about your future. Jungkook remained silent. Suzy's family kept pressuring him too. Jungkook, you can't spend your whole life waiting for a woman who is in prison, one of them said. You need a proper family. You need children someday. Suzy is the best option for you. Even though Jungkook had never accepted Suzy romantically, they continued treating their marriage as if it were already decided. His jaw tightened. YN finally got bail. The moment she saw Jungkook, she rushed toward him and hugged him tightly, breaking down in his arms. I'm sorry, Jungkook whispered. I should have believed you sooner. I'll make sure the real culprit is punished. Nearby, Suzy's parents angrily confronted them. Jungkook's father was still furious. I still don't believe her. She could be the murderer too, he shouted. Dad, you're wrong, Jungkook snapped. YN is not like that. But even his father admitted he still had doubts. YN barely listened. Exhausted, she held on to Jungkook. I just want to go home, she whispered. Jungkook nodded and held her close. YN went with Jungkook after meeting her parents. When they finally reached home, YN went straight to their room. She was completely drained. For the next 2 days, she slept almost constantly, ignoring the arguments, the investigation, and everything. One afternoon, YN was quietly eating dinner in dining room when Jungkook's father entered. I know you killed my wife, he said coldly. YN immediately shook her head. No, I didn't kill her. I've told you that so many times. Before the argument could grow, Jungkook walked in. It would be better if I protected myself by divorcing you, she said angrily. You couldn't save your wife. How will you save your son? She walked away, leaving Jungkook furious, but her words hurt more than his anger. He had spent huge amounts of money trying to protect her, yet she still felt unsafe. And deep down, Jungkook knew why. He had once chosen to doubt YN. Now, every new piece of evidence made him more convinced that Suzy and her family were hiding something. He regretted not believing his wife from the beginning. Wen quietly opened the locker and looked through the cards and documents she had kept there. She collected all the jewelry she had saved from months, everything that could help her start over. She packed her clothes and Jeonsan's belongings into suitcases, packing all, keeping the bags below bed. In entered the living room. She stopped. Jungkook was sitting on the floor, happily playing with their son. Come, Jeonsan, it's your sleep time, YN said firmly. Jungkook looked up, surprised. It's not the sleep time of Jeonsan. YN, wait. She walked over and took Jeonsan into her arms. YN. But she ignored him and carried their son away. He looked toward door. YN was there preparing food for Jeon-san. Curious and uneasy, Jungkook slowly reached for one of the bags. Before he could, Jungkook quietly went into their bedroom. He looked underneath the bed and pulled the bags out. What is this? He opened them. Inside were bundles of money, jewelry, bank cards, important documents, and clothes carefully packed away. Jungkook stared in shock. She wasn't just saving things, she had been preparing to leave. He opened another bag and found more clothes and Jeonsan's belongings. His heart began pounding. Why would she pack all this? He searched through the bags, desperately trying to understand. Then, YN appeared silently in the doorway. She didn't look surprised, she simply stared at him. The room suddenly felt unbearably quiet. The bags sat open between them like a secret that could no longer be hidden. Looking for something? Her voice, right behind him. Jungkook froze, slowly turned. YN stood at the door, silent, watching. No shock, no panic, just calm. That scared him more than anything. What is this? He asked, holding up the bag slightly. His voice wasn't loud, but it was heavy. She didn't answer immediately, just walked in slowly, closed the door behind her. Click. I asked you something, Jungkook said again, this time firmer. Why are these packed? She looked at the bags, then at him. I was going to leave. The words dropped like stone. Jungkook's grip tightened. Leave? She nodded. With my son. That hit harder. He's our son! Jungkook snapped instantly. Her expression didn't change. Too late, she cut in calmly, coldly, and angrily. You were going to run away? He asked, disbelief creeping in. Without telling me? I wasn't running, she replied. I was protecting myself. From me? He let out a bitter laugh. Yes. Jungkook stared at her. After everything I've done, he said quietly. And after everything I've been through, she replied, just as quietly. That stopped him. Her eyes didn't waver. I don't feel safe, she continued. Not with this case, not with your family, not with the people around you. The room felt off. YN was sitting on the couch. She lighted up cigarette between her fingers, smoke curling slowly in the air. Jungkook. That was new. YN? She looked at him, not soft, not tired, cold. This helps, she said, exhaling calmly. Reduces stress. Jungkook frowned, stepping closer. Since when do you— Prison, she cut in. One of the inmates gave it to me. Helps me sleep. Helps me think. That hit him harder than he expected. 8 months had changed her more than he realized. She stared at her for a moment, then asked quietly, What did Susie say to you? His eyes flickered with something unreadable. Then she smirked slightly. So she told you something, huh? Jungkook's jaw tightened. It doesn't matter. I told you. I'll handle it. I'll save you. For a second, silence. Then YN laughed, not softly, not bitterly. Loud, sharp, almost mocking. You'll save me? She repeated, shaking her head. Jungkook froze. A loser like you? She added, eyes locking onto his. That he didn't expect. When— Do you even hear yourself? She continued, standing up now. Save me? When you couldn't even stand by me when I needed you the most? I admitted my mistake, he said, voice tightening. I'm trying to fix it. Fix? She laughed again, harsher this time. You think throwing money at the case is fixing it? His fists clenched. You're crossing a line. No, she said coldly, stepping closer. You crossed it the day you doubted me. Silence. Heavy. Then she said it. Slow, clear. You're my biggest mistake. Jungkook's breath hitched. I shouldn't have fallen for you, she continued, her voice dropping but cutting deeper. If you never came into my life— A pause. Her eyes darkened. I would have saved them. That sentence didn't just hurt, it shocked him. What? He whispered. She didn't take it back, didn't soften it, just looked at him, and for the first time, Jungkook felt something he hadn't felt before with her. Fear. Because that didn't sound like just pain talking. It sounded like something else, something buried, something dangerous. He took a slow step toward her. What do you mean by that? He asked, voice low. But she didn't answer. Susie told you I killed your mom, right? She said, Jungkook confused. How did she knows? The words didn't just land, they shattered everything. She is right. Susie is right. YN said, her voice steady, almost empty. I killed your mom. Jungkook stared at her like he hadn't heard correctly. He was shocked, really shocked by her words. He looked at her, she looked, away heavy. Breathing, his eyes widened by her words.